Give us a sense of where you are with your proposals. I understand that you're considering some changes, but you believe you've got a date certain to take it up for a vote. What will they be voting on, and when will they be voting on it?
Well, we've been working for months to make improvements to the bill to continue to gather support. There have been frustrations on both sides, both the folks who've filed a discharge petition and the Freedom Caucus that wants my bill brought directly to the floor. The Speaker announced yesterday that it will be brought to the floor during the week of June 21st, and there are very serious negotiations going on with all of these parties to try to come up with a path forward to get something to the floor and pass it. It's my hope that the pressure of time and a date certain will bring people to focus on this where they haven't focused on it for the last few months. It's an important issue, both from the standpoint of addressing the DACA recipients and from the standpoint of giving President Trump and the administration the tools they need to secure the border, make sure that loopholes are closed when people get inside the interior of our country, and to address the issues of chain migration and the so-called visa lottery, all of which are addressed in the legislation that I offered with Mike McCall, chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, Raul Labrador, chairman of the Immigration Subcommittee, and Congresswoman McSally, who's the chairman of the Border Security Subcommittee.
Right. So do you believe that you have a firm commitment from your leadership to bring it up for a vote? And if so, what's it got to do with the agricultural bill? Why couldn't that just get voted on in its own and yours gets voted on in its own?
Well, I voted for the agriculture bill, and I believe these two issues should be kept separate. But some didn't believe that the legislation was coming forward and took the position that they took. So we are where we are. I believe both of these bills, the immigration bill and the agriculture farm bill, should be brought back up and addressed. There is one component of my bill, the immigration bill, that does relate to agriculture, and that is an agricultural guest worker program that really works, because this is a sector of the economy where we have a huge number of people who are not lawfully present in the country working, and we need to change that and get a legal, workable program. That's part of our proposal.
So
but
give
that
us
is not part of the farm bill.
So give us a little bit more details on that immigration bill, on your immigration bill that will get voted on the third week of June, because there will be some changes. What can you tell us about that, and how different is it from your original bill?
Sure. We've made a number of changes to both the agriculture provisions in the bill to make the touchback provision work better, to make sure that people are confident that the number of workers available under this program, which has a cap on it, will be sufficient. And we also have made literally a dozen or more other changes to that part of the bill. We've also focused on changing the DACA program to make it more attractive for DACA recipients, so that they can have a permanent program where they renew once every 6 years, and it has what we call existing pathways to citizenship. Nothing that's specially set aside for the DACA recipients, but if you qualify for another pathway to a green card and then citizenship, we allow that in our bill. It's not allowed under the current Obama-created DACA program. So it's quite a lot better than what folks are utilizing right now. And of course, they're covered by the uncertainty of a court case that has not yet been decided as well. This would be a permanent resolution of this issue.
So you've doubled the renewable legal status, the time from 3 years to 6 years. What about expanding the number of people who can be eligible for the DACA program?
That is being discussed, and there are those who were eligible to apply for the DACA program and did not apply. A lot of controversy around whether they should have applied or not applied. My own position is that when they did not apply, they were actually being told by a lot of people, including me, that this program was not a legal program. So I understand why they didn't apply, and I think we could expand that to cover people in those circumstances, making sure that we have adequate provisions in the bill to avoid fraud, which is a serious problem in this area, proving when you actually were in the country and what your status was.
Mr. Chairman, I want to turn to another responsibility you have as chair of the Judiciary Committee, and that is with respect to the Russia investigations. We have heard from more than one of your colleagues now that they might like another special counsel appointed, one to look into the conduct of the FBI and the Justice Department with respect to investigating the Russian connections to the election, and particularly Hillary Clinton's campaign. Are you in favor of another special counsel?
Yes, I've been calling for months for the appointment of an independent special counsel to look into how the FBI conducted the investigations into both the Clinton campaign and the Trump campaign in 2016 and then moving on into 2017. As you know, there were many revelations back then and what I consider to be highly unusual, in some respects astonishing actions taken by former FBI Director Comey to hold a press conference and announce all the things that Hillary Clinton had done wrong, and then announce that they were nonetheless not going to indict her. And then, if I were a Democrat, I'd be very concerned about the fact that 10 days before the election, he got up and sent me and others a letter saying that he was reopening the investigation right before the election. Those are just two of many questionable actions taken by the FBI during that time, and the so-called Strzok Page texts, Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, have revealed an extraordinary bias on the part of the FBI during that investigation. And the contrast between how the Clinton investigation was conducted and the Trump investigation is truly shocking. We don't want that to happen again in 2020.
Right. And finally, Mr. Chairman, as you know, the Justice Department has said the Inspector General should look into that. The President has referred to the Inspector General looking into that. Normally, when there's allegations of misconduct within a government agency, there's an Inspector General who takes a look at it. Why is that not sufficient?
Well, we are looking forward to the Inspector General's report, which has been due for a few months now, and we're hopeful that we're going to see it here within the next few days or weeks, and that will help to guide our own investigation. But the Inspector General has limited powers, and we think that this requires somebody who is independent and outside of Maine justice. Now, the Attorney General took that step a couple of months ago by appointing Mr. Huber, the United States Attorney for Utah, to conduct his own investigation. He is outside of Maine justice because he's located there in Utah, but he is not independent of the Department of Justice, and therefore we think that independence is important ultimately. Right. And we're anxious to see what Mr. Huber and what Inspector Horowitz produce, but my opinion is we ultimately will need an independent special counsel.